Good evening and a very warm welcome to Millfield's annual film poetry event. My name's James Baddock, I'm Head of English and Media, and by way of introduction I'm going to say a few things about the work you're going to see tonight. So the first thing to note is that all of the work you're going to see was produced by our students in years 9, 10 and the lower 6th. Many of those students worked collaboratively, some of them worked alone, some of them based their film poems on existing pieces of writing, others started from scratch. Many of them also used a wide range of resources, including non-students to do voiceovers, for example. And we had an incredible kind of collision of styles and themes and emotions as well, I suppose, submitted to us in the film poems that you're about to see. When we run this annual initiative, we don't specify a theme. We don't tell the students, you must make this kind of film poem in this way on this subject. What we do is encourage playfulness, and you are going to see lots and lots of playfulness in the film poems, both the less serious and the more serious film poems exhibit this quality. And by playfulness I mean an ability to take risks, to try interesting techniques to see what will happen, and above all to experiment. So that's really, I suppose, one of the hallmarks of film poetry is experimentation. I will just say as well that a film poem is a poem. So a film poem is not a film of a poem. It's important we get that straight. The form is the film. So just as we have sonnets and haiku, epics, free verse, for example, the film poem is a form of poetry, and obviously it draws on a wider language than is available to most poets who are writing and using just words, because you have sound, you have images, moving and still, maybe music as well. So in a minute I'm going to stop talking and allow you to enjoy the film poems that our students have created. They're in 3 categories: Year 9, Year 10 and the lower 6th. And at the end of the presentation of film poems we're going to hear from our guest, film poet Astra Papachristodoulou, who is going to say some things about the work she has seen. So I'll stop talking there and let you get on with the important job of enjoying Millfield students' exciting and innovative film poems.
An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash, then silence again.
There is so much to explore beyond our solar system, away from our galaxy, past our universe, and outside our multiverse. One man walks through this, cheating life and death. One man will have the adventure of multiple lifetimes. The emptiness of space is filled with never-ending darkness. The cosmos, so empty. Suddenly, the end destination is reached.
But the end is only the beginning. New surrounds, new multiverse, new timeline, same person, travelling and travelling. What is out there? Who is out there? Are they watching? They are watching. Surrounded by gloom and death everywhere. Another mystery portrait dimension appears. The transverse whomever steps through it into another place. A reflecting person is going through again.
The multiverse is exploding. The very fabric of space-time continuum is being torn apart. Black holes, nebulas, asteroids, and more are being messed up. It's not stable, yet he still walks. Who is he? Yet again, another portal, another warp. Is it a warp? Is it hyper travel? Is it light speed? Will you walk back to reality?
Is this reality? What if we can go beyond the timeline, to only new territories? Nothing can be heard. Vacuum mutes all sound. What is out there? Just immense scale of things is mind-boggling. The meta-universe is infinite. Possibilities unlimited. Nothing is what it seems.
Nothing makes any sense.
In the end, was it worth it?
and she kept on puzzling about it while the mouse was speaking, so that her idea of the tale was something like this. Fairy said to the mouse that he met in the house, "Let us both go to law, and I will prosecute you. Come, I'll take you to denial, we must have a trial, for really this morning I've nothing to do." Said the mouse to the cur, "Such a trial, dear sir, with no jury or judge would be wasting our breath." "I'll be judge, I'll be jury," said the cunning old fairy. "I'll try the whole cause and condemn you to death."
This shape without space, this pattern without stuff, this stream without dimension, surrounds us, flows through us, but leaves no mark. This message without meaning, these tears without eyes, this laughter without lips, speaks to us, but does not disclose its clue. These waves without sea surge over us, smooth us. These hands without fingers close hold us, caress us. These wings without birds strong lift us, would carry us, if only the one thread broke. Over hill, over dale, thorough bush, thorough briar, over park, over pale, thorough flood, thorough fire. I do wander everywhere, swifter than the moon's sphere, and I serve the fairy queen to dew her orbs upon the green. The cowslips tall have pensioners be, in their gold coats spots you see. Those be rubies, fairy favours, in those freckles live their savours. I must go see some dewdrops here, and hang a pearl in every cowslip's ear.
Golden sun, by Lenore Hetrick. Great, glorious, golden sun, shine down on earth today. You are the life of all this earth, and you and your magic ray.
You are the life of a bird and plant. All must depend on you. Shine down, great sun, the whole day long. Shine from the heavens blue.
And I will welcome your golden rays, for you mean to me. You and your mean happiness and health, strength and energy.
Shine down, great sun, on flower and field, and never say goodbye. Forever and ever give us your light from out of the wind, blue sky.
My feet hits the waves as I enter the shore, taking deep breaths as I began to explore this quiet place below the norm. Like outer space, an alien form. My lungs are still, my heart's a race. I feel a chill and relax my pace. Sinking down, releasing time. I look around and met the sublime.
Life was simple. Clouds floated above me like giant sheep in the sky. My friends were laughing with me, not at me. My heart was whole, and I didn't have to worry about what other people think. But suddenly, the clouds above me turned into grey rain clouds. I'm blinded by electric light as it shoots into my heart. The words of the thunder speak to me in a deep voice. I hate you. You're not good enough. Die. I'm alone. I'm invisible. I'm muted. I'm lost in space. The lightning strikes my chest again and cuts me like an ice skate, and I feel myself being torn apart like a paper shredder. I'm on a planet. It slips away from beneath me and I'm falling through the atmosphere. My heart is broken. I hear the rumbling voice of the thunder again. I know it's going to tell me to die again. I see the piercing light of the lightning and I'm blinded. But it's a spaceship. The engine is rumbling and the headlights are blinding me. Am I going to be rescued from this hell? An alien grabs me into the ship, and I see a hole in his chest, just like mine. I'm not alone anymore. The hole in my chest stops bleeding. The thunderclouds evaporate. There is no more lightning or booming voice of the thunder. We land on the moon and look down at this world full of hatred. You are enough, he says. Stop hating on yourself and caring about what other people think. My hole in my chest is healed. My heart is fixed.
What is life? What is life without a smile? But I haven't smiled in a while. Because life is not so easy, everything is not so breezy. My life is too aloof and bad. Because my feelings always end up being sad. Beneath the surface of every wind, there is always a darkness within. A darkness which controls your mind if you let it, so don't let it.
here I am again, locked up in the dark silence of my mind. Silent to you, her and him, but for me a raging, screaming, spiralling tower of everything. Like poison on the inside, slowly eating away at the things people tell me and the words people say. Lies, truths and promises merge into one, leaving me confused and hoping that someone can be the wind around me, wrapping me with love, pushing me forwards with a gentle, calm nudge. The sunshine in the morning that brightens up my soul, opening possibilities, leaving me warm and in control. The rain that falls softly and brushes against my face, and whispers ever so quietly that it will be okay. The birds that chirp around me, singing songs of praise, making me feel worthy and drive me through the bad days. But no, I'm left alone in the darkness of my mind, the wind leaving me cold, tugging at my insides. The sun that goes away, leaving me in the dark, making me feel hopeless and steals my dying spark. The rain that pulls me down and soaks me to the skin, forms my every teardrop and leaves me struggling. The birds that squawk with anger, cut through remaining hope, that maybe someone loves me, maybe I can cope. Like a seed in my mind, plant one, it causes doubt, but when you plant a forest, it's impossible to find a way out. The canopy above me, growing ever thicker. You thought it was just a seed, but now it's something bigger.
Time is just a concept that dominates. The universe's president. It's depended on by everything, though some are oblivious to the existence of time. It's so slow, yet it's too fast. One person can bounce between being bored with the pace and struggling to keep up. You have to do everything one step at a time. It's incomparable. It cheats, it steals, it murders, and it never apologizes for any of it. We let it run free. We are the prisoners to a criminal called time. Things grow. They grow up. They grow old. They stop. But time never stops.
Some are older than others, but nothing is older than time. It can be gained, it can be lost, it can be spent, it can be lent, but when it's gone, it's gone. Listening to this poem has just wasted your time.
A person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. So, he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions. By thoughts, I mean specifically chatter in the skull, perpetual and compulsive repetition of words, of reckoning and calculating. I'm not saying that thinking is bad. Like everything else, it's useful in moderation. A good servant, but a bad master. And all so-called civilized peoples have increasingly become crazy and self-destructive because through excessive thinking they have lost touch with reality. That's to say, we confuse signs, words, numbers, symbols, and ideas with the real world. Most of us would have rather money than tangible wealth, and a great occasion is somehow spoiled for us unless photographed. This is a disaster. For as a result of confusing the real world of nature with mere signs, such as bank balances and contracts, we are destroying nature. We are so tied up in our minds that we've lost our senses. Time to wake up. What is reality? Obviously, no one can say, because it isn't words. It isn't material, that's just an idea. It isn't spiritual, that's also an idea, a symbol. Reality is this.
One was rubbish.
I got a good mindset.
Good. If I have, well done.
What if Cinderella had an attitude problem? And Snow White just liked the idea of strangers and poison too much? What if Little Mermaids always enjoy human company more than her own kind? And Sleeping Beauty just like her solitude more than human touch? What if the only rabbit her Alice ever fell down was a terrible mistake with an awful substance, never discussed as such? What if they locked Wendy away for hallucinating about Neverland and a boy who never grew up? What if fairy tales aren't as innocent as they sound, and even princesses aren't perfect? What if I told you that your damage doesn't define you, and the way you survive is no one else's damn business?
Thank you, sir.
The Panther. His vision from the constantly passing bars has grown so weary that it cannot hold anything else. It seems to him there are 1,000 bars, and behind the bars, no world. As he paces in the cramped circles, over and over, the movement of his powerful, soft strides is like a ritual dance around a centre in which a mighty will stands paralysed. Only at times the curtain of the pupils lift. Quietly, an image enters in, rushes down through the tensed, arrested muscles, plunges into the heart, and is gone.
Time will stand still when the lift in the multi-story rockets through the roof and takes its place motionless amongst a million stars. Time will stand still when the cold March wind is weary of whistling and suddenly stops a solid chunk of air. Time will stand still when a train hits the buffers, bursts through to the amazement of pigeons, and stands, its smoke frozen in my empty fireplace.
Hand in hand, I'll walk with you across the land, through and through. For every mile, I'll help you walk, even when my legs won't stay. Whenever you need to talk, I'll never be too far away. For what they call us demons, you're nothing like that to me. They do have their reasons, but I love you, don't you see? I understand you are scared, but I am here for you until the end. I just stick with me, and your life will be spared, for I love you. Only you, my friend.
Hope does indeed have feathers, and now she's flown away. We try to listen for her tune, we long for her today, and somewhere in this land she hides. We search for her, we cry, we will perch in our souls again. Such sweetness cannot die. The gale is strong, the sea is strange. She flies on damaged wings. It's our turn to keep her warm, this little bird who sings.
We're the mask that grins and lies. It hides cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to heal. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile and mouth. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. But oh, great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. But oh, the clay is vile along the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask.
At childhood's end, the houses petered out into playing fields. The factory, allotments kept like mistresses by kneeling married men. The silent railway line, the hermit's caravan, till you came at last to the edge of the wood. Here it was that I first clapped eyes on the wolf. He stood in a clearing, reading his verse aloud in his wolfy drawl, a paperback in his hairy paw, red wine staining his bearded jaw. What big ears he had, what big eyes he had, what teeth. In the interval I made quite sure he spotted me. Sweet 16, never been, babe, waif, and bought me a drink. My first. You might ask why. Here's why. Poetry. The wolf, I knew, would lead me deep into the woods, away from home to a dark, tangled, thorny place, lit by the eyes of owls. I crawled in his wake, my stockings ripped to shreds, scraps of red from my blazer snagged on twig and branch, murder clues. I lost both shoes, but got there, wolf's lair, better beware. Lesson 1 that night. Breath of the wolf in my ear was the love poem. I clung till dawn to his thrashing fur, for what little girl doesn't dearly love a wolf? Then I slid from between his heavy matted paws and went in search of a living bird, white dove, which flew straight from my hands to his open mouth. One bite, dead. How nice. Breakfast in bed, he said, licking his chops. As soon as he slept, I crept to the back of the lair. There a whole wall was crimson gold aglow with books, words. Words were truly alive on the tongue, in the head, warm, beating, frantic, winged. Music and blood. But then I was young, and it took 10 years in the woods to tell that a mushroom stoppers the mouth of a buried corpse, that birds are the uttered thought of trees, that a greying wolf howls the same old song at the moon year in, year out, season after season, same rhyme, same reason. I took an axe to a willow to see how it wept. I took an axe to a salmon to see how it leapt. I took an axe to the wolf as he slept. One chop, scrotum to throat, and saw the glistening virgin white of my grandmother's bones. I filled his old belly with stones. I stitched him up. Out of the forest I come with my flowers, singing all alone.
Memories are there to remind us of things that have gone before, of special friends and loved ones. Some we'll never see anymore. But memories were made to be shared, with the people who we love. So are memories such a good thing, when they can cause you so much pain, and remind you of places and loved ones you can never see again?
La boca, the mouth. Vazza, belly. La sangre, the blood. De voûte, the feet. De-o, the eyes. De-hoof, the thigh.
Bloodstained Rose. The reason she was so curious was to stop the bloody macabre inside of me causing the red petals to fall. She wanted me to stay the beautiful white rose everyone knew me as. Unfortunately, that same white rose is dying, brown on the inside, but hides it with the admirational white petals flourishing on the outside, with no glimmer of darkness. Except one night, someone had poisoned the flower, not with a deadly substance, instead intoxicating its aura, making it vulnerable. The flower no longer had a need to hide its pain. The flower's petal had slowly turned a deep red. One by one, the white vanished into red, engulfing its purity. Finally, the red rose rested there, gorgeous, painless, and free within. It was resting as though waiting for someone to notice the drastic changes, but instead everyone continued to walk by, letting it slowly die as the rose was no longer recognized, nor was it appreciated. And on that day, the first red petal fell. As it hit the old wooden oak, a sense of relief gained the ominous yet empty atmosphere. One after the other, the petals fell, until all that remained was a dead brown stalk, skinny, naked, not to be touched again. The once attractive and pure white rose, admired by all eyes, had shown its true colour, the colour of blood. Petals stained with blood. Whose blood? The petals lay collecting dust, ignored after the unnoticed death. The stalk, confused with the colour of the oak, was invisible, and the flower gone. No one thought about it, remembered her. It was just a dying, lonely rose, right? A forgotten rose, a gorgeous, blood-stained rose.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that wonderful and extremely diverse work by our students at Millfield. I'm now going to introduce this evening's guest, Astra Papakristodulu. Astra is a groundbreaking poet, visual poet, film poet, with an incredible body of work behind her already. She's also a curator, of visual poetry spaces, both online and out in the real world. And she also has edited publications. So she's got a huge wealth of experience in contemporary poetry, and in particular, I suppose it's fair to say, experimental poetry, innovative poetry, future-facing poetry. So once again, I need to be quiet now, don't I? And I'm going to hand over to Astra, who is going to say some words about the film poems that you have just seen.
Hi everyone! It's a pleasure to share with you the winners of this year's Film Poetry Showcase. But before I do that, I'll just speak a little bit about the current climate and film poetry in general. As you have noticed, in the backdrop of a worldwide pandemic, where our core immediate face-to-face communication has been compromised, it's important to utilize the technological tools available to us to enrich and portray our thoughts to others and ultimately connect with them, which is, I feel, the ultimate goal of being human. Film poetry, a very rich poetic form, proves an excellent tool of expression within that current backdrop, as it can be composed with everyday devices that are ingrained to our lives, such as mobile phones, laptops, cameras, etc. I had the joy to watch all of your diverse and imaginative poems, all of which celebrate film poetry and ultimately experimentation, creativity and skill. But enough of all that now. I'll just move on to announcing the winners of the poems that stood out for me from each category. But that's not to say that I didn't enjoy all of your film poems. Each of your works is to be celebrated for its originality, and I have to say that to select a few was a very difficult task. What I felt was a common thread throughout your work was that all of your film poems came with a unique message, and that was portrayed in a unique way. So yeah, well done for that. So I'll just start with the Year 9 group. In winning place we have Matsuo Basho with The Old Pond, a very short film poem that achieves a lot in a matter of seconds and outgrows its minimalist bounds. The narration, in combination to the black and white animation that are linked to the universal symbol of the yin and yang, were in perfect harmony. So well done, Matsuo. Runner-up for this year group is Music by Alex. So Alex's film poem uses an existing poem by A.S.J. Testament as the basis for a very ambient and thought-provoking film poem that toys with the imagery of water. That was very beautiful work, Alex. Well done to you too. Now let's move on to Year 10. In the first place, we've got What is Reality by Adam, and at this point I can't quite express how impressed I was by Adam's work. A very cinematic film poem that achieved so much in a short space. A skillful minimalist poem with excellent aesthetic quality, and I can't highlight this enough. So Adam, I hope that you continue to produce such engaging work in the future, and I look forward to seeing more work for you in the future. Beautiful work. Now, in joint runners-up, we've got The Panther by Ella and On His Blindness by Abby. So let's start with Ella's poem. So the poem used a very abstract black and white imagery that confluences very effectively with the narrative poem. A sense of movement exudes throughout that makes the poem stand out. And then on the other hand, we've got Abby's film poem on his blindness that also uses an existing poem at its core, and it stands out for its skillfulness and imagination. So well done, Abby. And now let's move on to the final group of this showcase, which is the lower sixth group. In winning place, we have Gemma and Katie with their Untitled film poem. The photographic and grainy recordings of playground moments and violence, accompanied by the very well-known story of the Little Red Riding Hood with a very macabre twist, worked really well. Excellent work both. Keep it up. And finally, we have the runner-up for this year group, which is Hana with the Bloodstained Rose. So this poem skillfully merges imagery of watercolor paint in action with real-life videos of flowers to portray a metaphor for pain and blood. A wonderfully engaging piece, Hannah, so well done to you. And we've come to the end of my video. That's all from me. Congratulations again to you all, and I hope that you continue to create and experiment and nurture your creativity. And by the looks of it, you've got plenty of it. Thank you for the chance to watch your work, and I hope that you keep up with toying with film poetry in the future.
One day at a time, when the sun stirs and flicks, when wood lightens, there is about the course of sky, and there goes a patchwork of spring chime to tweak the seasons. So slender, so gentle, feathered with red gauze, it hops on paths paved with shrubs and trees, a gilded temple to shorten the day. It leaps from gravel paths to thrash warbles in the red brick shade, and off it goes again, branch by branch, to find its next leafy throne.